Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to part 68 of Let's Play Tyranny. In the last part, well, we had reached the end game. Tunon would like to see us. And we are going to comply. Because that is our job. Along the route towards your destination, the road crosses a small river at a tall, arched bridge. Turquoise water cascades down a three-tiered fall, driving a musty smell of algae into the air, where it mingles with lilac and sage. I'd almost forgotten what good smells like, Verse mutters, eyeing Barrick. She sidles closer to you. Or sidlers close to you. Hey, Binder, you know what would be a real service to the Overlord? Getting Rustbucket over there to take a fucking bath already. She spits the bridge of her nose. It's been literal years since his last. The cool, crisp scent contrasts sharply with the sour stench of filth emanating from your disfavored companion. You're not sure what Barrick last bathed, but you doubt it was at a recent. I'm going to suggest that Barrick bathe. You call a brief respite at the war's edge and make your way to Barrick as he fills his war skins, drawing on your eyes years of experience in court. You craft an artful phrases, a gentle reminder that the disfavored take the maintenance of their kit extremely closely, and that the most important piece of disfavored equipment is their own body. The stone student initially expresses confusion as to your meaning, but then his face flushes as he stammers an apology. Forgive me, fatebinder. I'd spent so much. I was encased in, locked away, gotten used to. He shakes his head. I shall rectify the issue immediately. He takes off in search of an isolated curve of the current, and when he returns, it's without the heady stench that accompanied him for months. He's refreshed for the first time in years. Well, I think that might have been the stuff carrying that's just been finished. No, something was finished, but we're in the end game now, I think. I actually don't know. I'm assuming. I really don't have a fucking clue at this point. Though with 2 Archons dead and 1 Archon left standing, I'm 2 Archons left standing, myself and Tunon, who I am loyal to, or at least I'm gonna try to be. I am considerably worried.
With that unpleasant business out of the way, we change course to another serious matter. One that puts into question your conduct as a member of Kyros' loyal followers. You have made quite a name for yourself, Fatebinder. Stories of your deeds have spread through the tiers, and all of them have reached this court. Some actions have consequences. We will see what your actions have wrought. The court has its own charges to present, and invites you to answer for yourself.
I expected as much. Bring on your charges.
The trial begins now. I recommend that you treat these moments with deserving gravity, as they might be your last. Don't attempt to lie or evade answers. I will judge you in the objective eyes of our Overlord. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
At least your civility remains intact. You are on trial for transgressing on the Overlord's authority, breaking the laws of the Empire, bringing mayhem to an otherwise orderly conquest, and meddling in concerns that fell beyond your station. Our directive to bring Kyros' peace to the tiers has suffered, and you will answer for the part you played.
If you don't mind, Adjudicator, we are on familiar terms with the Fatebinder here. Should any inconsistencies require our input, we will add our voices as testimony. She nods to Rologus and then turns to you with an unreadable expression.
The court has inquiries into your conduct. I first call your travel companions to speak on your behalf as witnesses to your character or accomplices to your crimes. Who will speak on behalf of the Fatebinder? The Ironclad Commander will step forward, if indeed he has the strength to walk.
You want me to speak, Adjudicator? Barrick self-consciously strains his sword and steps forward.
I've been treated with fairness and respect. As fine as anything the Legion ever gave me. The Fatebinder trusts my counsel. I've never seen a finer, more upstanding member of the court.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf? Scarlet Fury, You who sacrificed your old life for this one, step forward.
Me? As if the likes of me has any business speaking in a grand hall before the Archon. Why, I've murdered enough folk to stack their bodies up to the podium 10 times over. Your Honor, the fatebinder and I get along like a couple of cats. We scratch here and there, but there's respect to be had. Sometimes I think we agree on too much, but can't fight everyone. I suppose I've had worse bosses, and I suppose I've had better friends. But this one's something special. I've killed for him, and I'll do it again.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf? Let the aged chronicler step forward.
If it may please the court, I will speak true. I have had the honor and privilege of shadowing the Archon. A dream come true for someone so eager to witness history in the unfolding. I can say, with conviction, I am following greatness.
And if required, I could produce my travelogue to back my claims. I have noted the good with the bad, and I think you'll find the Archon has been a force of order and balance, exactly what you should want from a Fatebinder.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf?
Evidently not. The time has come for the Fatebinder to offer his testimony. You were tasked with bringing order to the conquest of the Tiers, and yet you ignored your directives from the Archons. Do you hold the conquest itself in contempt, or did none of the ruling factions convince you of their worth? Though Tunon maintains a stoic exterior, something about the incline of his head speaks of rage, restraint, and perhaps more importantly, curiosity. Supporting Archons who already proved themselves lacking would have been a waste of progress. I recognized a better way to unite the Tiers. You make a better argument than I would have credited. If the Archons performed beneath their capacity, then I can understand why you sought a different route. The Archon of War has levied a significant accusation against you. He charges that you murdered his daughter at Sentinel Strand Keep. How do you answer this assertion? She abandoned the Overlord to fight alongside the Tiersmen. She went as far as to bear an heir to the ruling house of Starwalt. I had heard murmurings of such. His mask turned almost imperceptibly towards Callio before returning its attention to you. The court thanks you for rooting out this transgression and punishing it appropriately. During the Crisis of Vendrian's Well, you aggressed upon an envoy of the Vendrian Guard requesting to parley with you under the blue flag of peace. Doing so violated one of our oldest and most deeply held traditions, universal across Terratus. Further, you twisted the flag to your own violent ends with the slaying of Queen Atlanta of House Vendrian during the conquest of Apex, an offence that we otherwise would have been declined to close scrutiny. Yeah, they'd already broken their oath of surrender. I couldn't trust them to remain peaceful. So you broke the peace first. I hold representative of this court to a higher standard than these Tiers barbarians. The adjudicator shakes his head. Your defense inspires no confidence. You entered the Old Walls, a clear violation of Kyros' law. How do you answer for this perversion of justice? Do you think yourself above the law? That one's just a bit cunty. No, the transgression were necessary to complete my circumstances took me there, Your Honor, not greed. This may bear further investigation, but for the time that has passed, I'm willing to believe that your actions in the Tiers took you to these forbidden places, and you saw no other option. That does not change my the immunity of Kyros' law. At the city of Halfgate, you killed the garrison's Kyrosmen who lawfully claimed it. A dozen of Kyros' servants bloodied the streets in your wake. They attacked me and hence violated Kyros' peace. I defended myself appropriately. He nods. The adjudicator nods. I suspected as much. A pity you could not do so without eradicating Kyros' presence in the town. Ever since you arrived at the Tiers, you have proven stubbornly tight-lipped. Your speech is often stilled, as if by some great terror or apprehension. Can you even answer for this anomaly, or are you too simple to manage it? In my dispensation of justice, I find it most useful to let others do the talking while I observe and allow them to incriminate themselves. That is a better justification than I had expected. Thank you for satisfying my curiosity.
I have one final question, Fatebinder. You were brought to this campaign to adjudicate the disagreements between the two armies. After your arrival, matters quickly escalated into a civil war. Did you knowingly join the conquest of the Tears to sow discord in your wake, or were you merely a victim of circumstance?
Yeah, I recognized the Archon's corruption from the start. It was only a matter of time before they turned on each other, and I was prepared for that eventuality.
If you anticipated a failure on this scale, you should have informed me, or else worked to avoid it rather than pit combatants against each other. I am finished with my line of questioning. Have you any closing remarks for the court?
Yeah, though I have ever strived to bring peace and order to this shattered region, I recognize that our work is an uphill battle and well worth the struggle.
The way you frame it, the conquest sounds like a matter of true personal investment. Most curious. After weighing the charges, this court finds you
Guilty.
innocent.
Oh.
Against all reason or expectation, I find you innocent. Your testimony was sufficient to justify your deeds, your self-appointed authority, and your undermining of Kyros' law. I can hardly believe it myself.
Tunon raises a trembling hand to his mask. Adjudicator, are you unwell? Rogalus, I hate Roman names sometimes, takes a cautious step. Leave him. I want to see how this plays out. Kellio leans forward of interest.
Archon, your presentation in the court today has shaken many of my core beliefs. Things I held sacred under Kyros' law are now uncertain.
He looks at his gavel with a sense of bewilderment.
I once thought that Kyros was the sole overlord. The notion of rising to her echelon of power and influence wasn't a concept that existed for me. For anyone. You have proven her wrong. What's more, you understand justice and law better than she ever did. Better than even.
Upon his mask, the corner of his eyes crinkle as if in agony.
I am willing to accept you as my new sovereign, if you'll have me.
Holy shit. No, this isn't good. What? This is not good for Galeris. This is literally flipping everything for him. Serve me as you served Kyros. I ask for nothing more.
My loyalty is beyond question. I will do anything for you.
Funny thing to say that you've just you turned coat on your old boss. What say we kill him just for the fun of it? I want to see what's under that mask. No verse. The adjudicator is now ours.
My gavel and my justice are yours. I will execute your laws as you draft them, show mercy as you see fit, and bring to ruin all who would reject you.
Hello, Blood and Mark. Yep, kind of thought you were going to kill him. Silently, Blood and Mark seeps from the shadows. He glides forward, palming two black hand-bladed daggers as his eyes dart between you and Tunon.
Adjudicator, kid.
He greets the both of you with a curt nod before stating his claim.
Allow this blade to cut to the point. I have an objection, or two.
He twirls both daggers, fingers moving deftly in and out of shadows. The movement nearly hypnotic and wholly blurred, and all the while his brightly burning eyes bore into yours. I'm sorry, we're just not that. Really? You have to do this now? He smiles pleasantly, teeth gleaming in the darkness.
Look, it's not like I have a grudge against you. I just can't let you live on Kyros' orders. I'm sure you understand.
I can tell you've been waiting for this. And she told you personally, did she?
Kyros has given me free reign of action to protect the Overlord's interests. The semantics are of little concern to her, though I admit they will greatly affect you.
It would appear the court headsman is determined to make his stand. Under normal circumstances, I would curb this behavior with a swift execution. However, we have long since abandoned normalcy. There will be a trial by combat then. Bledenmark's claim against your own. Justice will win out, and the will of the true Overlord will be evident for the living to witness. You may begin when ready, Archon.
I guess I've got no choice then. Without further word or warning, the Archon of Shadow dissipates into darkness. The light in the room flickers and dim as he surges forward in attack.
Your trial begins anew, Archon. Prepare to defend your title, your innocence, and your very life.
What the fuck happened to Barrick? Huh, they have hexachromatic eyes. I never noticed. Oh fuck, I used it in the wrong place as well. Right. Try and silence him. Let's do Starwalt Surge. And then let's do Shadows and Treachery. Let's fuck him up with Shadows. That sounds like appropriate justice. And then let's use this massive blade attack.
I'll tear your skeleton out by your ass. Damn thing could pierce cloth.
Barrick, you have massive potions. I don't need to worry about your health. Though I do think we should do this. Just because, fuck them. Verse,
We can do this.
Good aim.
Can't wait to try that
he's dead.
again.
Golden glowering eyes, wide with surprise, the Archon tumbles to the ground, coughing blood as dark as the shadow that billow and ebb around him. He clutches his shattered ribs and grins.
Look at you. The surprise of a lifetime.
He gasps, drowning as his lungs fill with blood. The light in his eyes dims as his pupils seep blackness, expanding to fill the whole of his eyes. A look of meaning passes between you, his fingers digging into the ground.
Don't die too easily. Won't look good for me. This brightness is blinding.
Master, if you'll join me upstairs, I will pledge fealty to you in the lawful manner.
Three Archons fucked over. Well, I'm actually fucking concerned that he's just gonna stab me with his smack me with that gavel of his. Though having defeated three Archons, I don't think he would try it, to be honest.
Archon, change has come to the Tears, and in time it will reach the Empire itself. You are the agent of that change, and even I could not have predicted what impossible heights you would reach. The time has come to take up the gavel and usher in a new age of structure and law to the Tears. You will henceforth define justice for the rest of us. I will follow your lead and endeavor to follow your design. As the ruling Archon of the Tiers, I submit to your authority and thank you for bringing order out of chaos. Go and represent the strength of law. Be the example the Tiers require, the force that keeps them together, and the hope for their future under one rule. Let your justice know no mercy but that which you impose. Civilization itself will bend according to your design. Never forget this. I am grateful to stand in your loyal service, Archon, but there is a shadow over these proceedings.
Tunon hesitates as he regards you, suddenly fearful.
Though you have proven yourself greater than the other Archons, Kyros is not satisfied. She sends a legion of expert soldiers marching on the Tiers as we speak, their war songs calling for your death.
Then we need a distraction. I think at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I think Galeras is finally just, like, I think he'd rather... Yeah, I don't think he's going to leave Kyros. We're going to leave Kyros. Then we have a distraction, or need a distraction or a reprisal.
Striking at Kyros first would send a powerful message. You have her interest. Now grab her attention. Though it sets a dangerous precedent, it may be your only recourse.
An edict proclaimed on the Northern Empire should do the trick.
Yes. Destruction on that scale might serve your purpose. The North will tremble under your forceful hand. Return to the mountain spire and see your will given shape and consequence. Show Kyros the face of true power.
Well, shit. This is, I think Galeras has finally grown. He's, I think after taking out 3 Archons, it's, and having the Adjudicator be confused, I think he's like, well, I think when you see an Archon flip, the Archon you served flip, I think everything just becomes everything just changes. I think that's the point where everything changes and you suddenly have to take a new path. So, let's go do this. Game, don't do this to me. Oh, you piece of shit. Oh, thank God. Motherfucker. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I thought the game was about to crash then. I'm actually going to go quickly pick up that staff. Thankfully, the game didn't do what I thought it was going to do, so we're all good. Because when there's no music, I get worried. There we go. Staff of Karen. Give it a second. Enemies in the targeted area take crush damage and are petrified, whilst allies in the area receive a buff to might, versatility, and resolve, as well as enhanced armor versus crush damage. I don't give a shit. I'm putting it there.
Oh, just kidding.
Just on the off chance I have to, like, I've still got some fighting left. I'm gonna give him a really powerful fucking, I'm gonna give him, like, another artifact. I mean, like, we've pretty much, everyone's got artifacts at this point. Like, we have artifacts out the fucking assholes. It's brilliant. Let's have a quick look. There we go. The Bindings of Shadows. If that wasn't heavy armor, I'd have equipped that to myself. The waves of energy radiating from the spire draw you forward, pressing your body and mind to its eager embrace. At the center of this tide, the resonator stands ready to broadcast your voice, echoing your commandments to the farthest reaches of the tiers and beyond. From here, the highest point in all of the peninsula, you could, with the sum total of your effort, project your will far north, past the edges of the tiers, and proclaim your edict as far as the land of the Northern Empire. This probably amounts to a declaration of war against the Overlord. Ready? So this is it. We've come a long way since the Edgering Ruins. Before this, I was nothing important. One scarlet chorus among thousands, but we're really doing something here. Thanks for letting me tag along. She turns to the edge of the spire, avoiding your gaze. Opportunity. I can feel like a coaxing breeze. I feel like a coaxing breeze. Not since Graven Ash stood against Kyros has anyone made such a dent in the Overlord's defenses. It's been an honor serving at your side. Come what may, I'm ready to face it. Barak nods to you. This is new territory for us all. You're the first to strike a blow directly at the Overlord. Make sure it counts. Hope you don't mind if I stand back and take notes, by all means. If I don't show my ability to cast the edict is more than a one-time thing, the attack will never stop. Striking the Overlord where it hurts. Good. I hope the old codpiece feels it from his throne room. Take your best swing. She nods to the resonator at the center of the spire. The spire awaits your command. I like Malediction more than others, so that's what I'm going to do.
The tiers have been conquered, unified at last under a single banner. Your edict brings devastation and ruin to the Northern Empire. Some believe the edict to be Kyros' work. Others hope, or fear, that this edict comes from a new voice. Kyros' forces withdraw from their march upon the tiers, as they are sent into disarray by your edict. With none left in the tiers to challenge your claim, you fortify your grasp on the war-torn realm. The Overlord's conquest of the known world has come to a halt, and the whisper of a challenger to Kyros' power slowly spreads throughout the land.
By casting the Edict of Malediction on the northern capital, you consign the Overlord city to an invisible plague of misfortune and calamity. The foundations of once proud buildings fracture upon some unseen pressure, and whole districts empty as the city's infrastructure crumbles. Laborers brought in to repair damage find the work undone hours or even minutes later. Citizens leave the city a ghost town, and whispers among themselves how Kyros could allow such a curse to infect their homeland. As chaos ensured the Northern Kingdom, the armies marched on the tiers received an unprecedented order. The armies were to fall back to the capital and ensure the safety of its people from the edict. For the first time in Kyros' great conquest, the armies retreated. Soon questions would be asked in the hushed breath across the land about what new and terrible power had emerged that could force the hand of the Overlord. You fulfilled Kyros' decree, and all the tiers is now ruled by a single Archon. Your former rivals have either submitted to you or perished, bringing the civil war to a close. Neither of the Archons charged with conquering the tiers impressed you enough to follow their lead. You ultimately defied your orders, seeing a better way to gain control, eliminating every Archon who dared stand in your way. You carved your own seat of power in the tiers, keeping yourself independent from the Northern Empire. In their pride, the disfavored never imagined themselves beaten, especially when their opponents appeared so disorganized. The last remnants of the Legion disperse, their general destroyed, and their honor broken beyond mending. The scorn that follows their humbled ranks haunts them even in the depths of obscurity. The Scarlet Chorus may have been mighty in numbers, but that didn't stop you from thoroughly scattering them, cutting off the Serpent's head, and sending each of the gangs howling back the chaos they sowed. How the remnants of the Horde occupy themselves without a war or to fight becomes a topic for nightmares. Word of your success spreads beyond the tiers as well. Even the most distant corners of the Empire whisper of the fatebinder who rose to become an Archon, and an Archon who intervention shattered the conquest, making way for a new future in the devastated realm. Without the authority of Kyros' Archons to enforce the Overlord's vision on the world, the fall of the conquest becomes a great revolution. Warring factions struggle for dominance, and infighting is a fact of daily life. Every group insists the situation is opportunity for the tiers to rebuild as they see fit. With the Edict of Stone dispelled, the earth around the Stone Sea finally settled, leading everyone to believe the Realm of Azure will return to its former glory. But the ritual used to end the edict blighted the land to such a degree that nothing will grow, no matter how hard anyone tries. With determination, some are able to start small seedlings, but nothing ever comes of it. The memories of Cain as a great force of destruction remains as a monument of inert rock. Most agree that the world is better off without the Archon of Stone, as the people of Azure begin to slowly reclaim land that was once torn asunder by its power. As the strongest and oldest of their kind, the death of the Stone Stalkers is a blow to the Beastman culture. The demise also brings centuries of oral traditions to an abrupt end. The local tribes never recover from this terrible loss. With Charon's essence preserved and the lands of Azure permanently blighted, the Earthshakers had no reason to return to the Stone Sea after the disfavored Legion had collapsed. After the death of Radix at Iron Hearth, the guild finds a new leader in a gifted Earthshaker named Isadora. As a tiersman and champion of Charon's teachings, she abolished the rigid structure that once held the mages down and allows them to experiment and explore their powers. The Earthshakers begin to wander the lands of Territus in the years following your victory in the tiers, becoming a group of power and renown. Soon after the death of the Archon, the garrison deserted the crumbling fortress of Sentinel Stand. With the Unbroken all but destroyed, the former citizens will start sliding into lawlessness and begin to fight over what little they can salvage. You put the last of Graven Ash's family to the sword, ensuring that the end of his long and decorated lineage, though you often wonder if more could have been done to prevent the horrible deed. You don't bother yourself wondering for too long. Though it takes time to recover from the devastation of the Edict of Storms, the Blade Grave begins its slow march toward healing. The realm of Starwell may never resemble its former glory, but the land is not so blasted that something new and better can't be built atop the bones of the past. The region bloodline has ended with it. New traditions and legacies spring to life. You eliminate the Scar Chorus that plagued the disfavored troops in the Velium Citadel. cutting a path through them all the way to the Silent Archive. Following the orders from Graven Ash, you destroyed the scroll, throwing it into the lava. By taking the Silent Archive from its pedestal and disrupting the preservation spell holding the Velium Citadel in stasis, you would cause the collapse of the single largest repository of knowledge in Terratus. The world may never know of the true extent of the loss. The sages are all but wiped from the tiers. What remains of the hoarded knowledge is vulnerable, as likely to be misused as destroyed. The damage done to the intellectual core of the region is likely beyond reversal, though small groups of would-be scholars gain influence from time to time. The setback is ultimately too vast to overcome. Without any formal leadership in Lefian's Crossing, the people of Haven decided to govern themselves for the first time in ages. However, rivalries among merchants began to spark violence without anyone to enforce order. As the town began to slip into further lawlessness, Hackneyed Bronze seized the opportunity to rally those who remained loyal to him and took the control of the settlement by driving out those who had disapproved of his authority. His vast and astute austere leadership ushered in a new age of modest prosperity for Lefian's Crossing, but at the cost of what some would call new occupation of the settlement. The bastard's wound receded into the mist of history and unobtrusively as it surfaced. The scouts you send to plume the depths of the report only a shallow, silent cave, the entry to the old was clogged with boulders and roughly hewn detritus. You never learn what became of the small, factorious community that buddled there in the darkness. By enacting an edict on Vengeance Well, you announced your power to the world and showed Kyros' forces you were capable of. When you defeat their leaders and scattered the army before you, it sent a message to Kyros: a new Archon is born. Whether it dissipated, its effects will always be felt as the first true threat to Kyros' rule. The death of Graven Ash means the end of the disfavoured. Without the comfort and support of the great general, what remains of the Legion sinks into hopelessness. The Archon's seat is left vacant, and whether or not it can be occupied again is a heated topic. Far from his place of final rest, the Northern Empire mourns its fallen son. Killing the Voices in the Rats spread the joy and bloody vengeance across the continent. Celebrated as the death of history's greatest parasite, the occasion is marked by all who suffered under the oppression of the Scarlet Chorus. Even in victory, one thought nags you. Though you witness his death, you can't help but wonder if the Voices in the Rat is done with you. Tunon the Adjudicator continued to dispense justice from his seat in the Bastard City. He follows the laws you crafted to the letter, advising on any of the meticulous changes you lack at the time or the patience to draft. Without his aid, the task of keeping order in the tiers would be nigh impossible. The death of Blend Mark deprived the world of a most capable murderer. One less bedtime story to scare children is no significant loss, though you can't help but glance at the dark corners of every room and feel as if something is watching you. Blend Mark will always cast a long shadow on your life. Though freed of its twisted shell of bronze and iron, Barak seems little less morose. He moves forward from the Edict of Storms only haltingly, attention half turned ahead toward an uncertain future and half behind the core choices that brought him here. The Northerner remains dedicated to the oaths he sworn you, drilling your forces and commanding them on the field. If he isn't exactly loved by your troops, he at least holds their respect. In the rare times of calm, he takes leaves of absence from your service, scouring the blade grave for the fallen sons and daughters of the Northern Empire and laying them to proper rest. Though the somber task seems one beyond the meagre lifespan allotted to a soldier, Barak returns from each of these excursions staying just a bit more upright. In the absence of the Voices in the Rat and the need to avenge her fallen sisters, Verse discovers something akin to contentment. For a time, you find her high atop your spire, faced toward the horizon with eyes closed against the wind that ruffles her feathers in her hair. It doesn't last. Verse disappears from your service without a farewell. When she returns, months later, she is trailed by a desperate gang of young women recruited from every corner of the tiers. Farmers, merchants, and former nobles, hungry for greatness, and all pledged to study the bloody lessons Verse has to impart. Her new colour sisterhood grows slowly compared to the chorus, but each member makes of violence a mesmerizing dance. Soon Verse and her cadre become the most feared of your enforcers, achieving a notoriety almost akin to that of Blend Mark. The war between the Archons concluded, Lant returns again to the collection of lost writings to the school of Quill. He journeys to the most shadowed recesses of the tiers, recovering, or at least at times liberating, those scrolls and volumes that have survived the ravages of conquest and adding them to his growing library. Yet Lantry grows increasingly uncertain how best to record history correctly, and instead turns his focus to fact-checking. critically teasing truths from falsehood in the Sage's Chronicle or other reputed sources of fact. His free time spent writing becomes less obsessed with the past and more focused on the future, though his predications rarely offer comfort. Disillusioned by your leadership, Ebb sets off alone to revive the devastated school of Tidecasters. The work takes a hard toll as Ebb struggles to retain her talents, explain her talents to one restless apprentice after another. Finally, she gives up in fit of frustration, snapping her staff over her knee and marking for the waterways of her peoples. To the best of your knowledge, she resides there still, avoided by the locals as a dangerous recluse. With no desire to remain in the company of humans, Kills and Shadows returns to the wilderness and seeks out her own kind. She discovers a haggard community of beastwomen who abandoned the realms of Haven and Azure, only to be enslaved by Kyros' forces. Out of this rabble of defectors, she forges a tribe. The nomadic ways respecting no established border or law. They raid villages and caravans when possible, glutting on the spoils and boasting of their severed ties with the human world. Though a large bounty follows in their tribe's wake, no human can survive the hunt for its leader. Siren goes quiet over time, speaking little and foregoing her songs as she distances herself from your military. One day, she simply walks out of camp and makes for the wilderness of the Tears. Rumors reach your ears that Cyrenac has occupied an abandoned mountainside temple. Her vow of silence drawing a small group of respectful followers, you leave her in peace. By abandoning your decorated career in Kyros' military, you gave the Tears room to define the path ahead. The future will not be mapped by foreign ideals or the will of a distant autocrat. It is a matter of time before the Overlord launches a retaliation you will be ready to face. Without allies, the winds are especially cold atop your spire. You await Kyros' inevitable advance, brooding over the decision that led you to this point. Though the Tears are a friendless place, they are indisputably your new home. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished Tyranny. Holy shit, and this is a fucking epic length part. Now I'm going to let these little scroll by, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll have a quick last few words after this is done, so I'll see you at the end of the part. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's just no words, man. That was honestly an amazing Let's Play. That was an amazing game. Like, Tyranny is just an amazing game, and really, I mean, like I said, I'm definitely up for playing this again in a couple of months as the Scarlet Chorus, like making a character who fits the Scarlet Chorus more. Again, you guys can let me know what you think about that, but yeah. I don't know what Let's Play I'm going to have, what game I'm going to have fill this, but it's probably going to be another role-playing game, just because I'm trying to keep at least 2 role-playing games going on every time, but I'm pretty sure my computer is running out of memories to store this video file, so I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope you guys will stay tuned for the next Let's Play. See you guys then.